When we left our RV to go to the national park, it was freezing cold. The low for tonight was 19 and barely made it into the 20s when we headed out. We were bundled up for this adventure. Hot Springs National Park, nicknamed the American Spa, was actually the very first area to be set aside for its special features. Although it wasn't technically the first national park, it was recognized as Hot Springs Reservation in 1832. Reservation was an early version of a national park. It legally became a national park in 1921, making it number 17, almost 50 years after Yellowstone. This national park is very different from the other parks we visited. Instead of driving through a forested or rocky area, we were right in the middle of town. We arrived early and were able to park right across from Bathhouse Row. Our first stop was at the visitor center to pick up the Junior Ranger packet and stamp my book. Unfortunately, we left the book at the camper, so we stamped the back of my Junior Ranger packet this time. We were really happy that the visitor center was also a museum because it was so cold outside. The museum and visitor center was once a bathhouse called Fortis Bathhouse. We spent time exploring the 3 different floors. We learned all about the hot springs by watching the video. It's amazing that the water seeps about a mile into the ground where it gets heated by the Earth's geothermal features. The water dissolves some of the minerals and brings them back to the surface where it emerges from 47 hot springs along Hot Springs Mountain. The temperature of the water remains at 143 degrees Fahrenheit. It's really hot to touch, even when the outside temperature is in the 20s. That's why the springs are referred to as America's Spa. In the 1870s, doctors would prescribe soaking in the springs to help cure people's ailments. Many people still believe the waters have healing properties. Mobsters, movie stars, presidents, and tourists frequented these springs for many years. People have come far away to enjoy the healing properties provided by the mineral waters of the hot springs. Even Major League Baseball players used the city for spring training at one time. This was so that the players could soothe their muscles when they needed to. If you tour the Fortis Bathhouse, you can see all of the activities offered. They had a gym, vapor cabinets, massage rooms, as well as the bathing areas. Most of the activities in my Junior Ranger booklet could be completed inside the museum. That was perfect on this freezing cold day. Today, the Buckstaff Bathhouse and Quapaw Baths and Spa are the only operational bathhouses within the park that are fed by the springs. We had hoped to enjoy a hot bath in the national park on our visit, but the Quapaw was closed and I was too young for the Buckstaff. Luckily, we discovered that the Arlington, a famous historic hotel in Hot Springs, was open and didn't have an age restriction. Dad and I went to the men's side where Elvis was our bath attendant.
It looked in 1924. It looks just like it looked in 1924. FBI. You sit in there from the steam.
Watch out, man.
You get the steam from the mineral water.
Oh, look at there.
Uh-huh.
So Babe Ruth actually was
when he would come from spring practice, he would sit right in here. And Al Capone, the gangster, he sat in number 2 back there. He always wanted to get in number 2 so he could see who was coming in.
That's the one on the right?
That's the one on the right, yeah. Right there. Yeah.
He wanted to see,
he wanted to see who was coming in. He had one of his boys standing there. He had one up there at the door.
I guess if you're Al Capone, you have to watch out.
You have to watch him, yeah.
We really enjoyed the experience. Mom said it was relaxing too, but her experience was a bit unexpected. She didn't know there would be a bath attendant. None of us really knew what to expect. But we're really glad he took the time for the experience. For lunch, we visited the Superior Bathhouse. It's been changed into a restaurant. I enjoyed a delicious pretzel there while Mom and Dad had soup and chili. Dad ordered a root beer that they brewed right in the restaurant. Said it was one of the best he'd ever had. I guess the spring water makes it so good. After exploring Bathhouse Row, we took a short hike behind the bathhouses. It was steep and we were all freezing, so we didn't go too far. Hot Springs National Park offers more than just Bathhouse Row. Although it's most famous for its bathhouses, there are over 5,550 acres to explore. The forest is thick with deciduous trees of hickory and oak, most being over 130 years old. They were showing their beautiful fall colors while we were there. About 2 million people visit the park every year to enjoy the hot springs and hike the trails. We hope to return one day when it's not so cold so that we can experience more of what the park has to offer. As we always do, we returned to the visitor center at the end of the day so that I could take the pledge and receive my badge. I'm glad we changed our route to include Hot Springs National Park. It was a unique experience and a great park to enjoy as our final park in 2019.